I woke up to the sound of birdsong, but something about it felt wrong. Too loud, too sharp. My head throbbed as I sat up in my sleeping bag, disoriented. The campfire from last night was nothing more than cold ash now, and my tent lay collapsed beside me. I couldn't remember packing it away. "Guys!" I called out, my voice hoarse. "This isn't funny." No answer. Just the rustling leaves above me and the faint hum of insects. Where were they? We'd come here together, me, Ryan, and Jess, to escape the city for a weekend of hiking and drinking cheap beer around the fire. But now, where were they? The clearing seemed smaller than I remembered. It wasn't supposed to be this isolated. There should have been trails leading back to the main path. Instead, all I saw were trees, hundreds of them, their gnarled branches twisting toward the sky like skeletal fingers. I stood, brushing dirt off my jeans, and decided to look for them. Maybe they'd gone exploring, or were messing with me. Either way, I needed answers. Day 1, the loop begins. I chose a direction at random and started walking. The air grew colder the deeper I went, even though sunlight filtered through the canopy. Every step crunched underfoot, echoing unnaturally loud in the silence. After what felt like miles, I stopped dead in my tracks. There it was, the same damn clearing I'd left behind. My sleeping bag still lay rumpled on the ground, my abandoned water bottle glinting in the sun. How could this be? I'd walked straight, never veered off course. There was no way I'd circled back without realizing it. Panic bubbled in my chest, but I forced myself to try again. This time, I marked the trees with slashes of my pocket knife, carving deep gouges into the bark so I'd know if I looped around again. Each cut bled sap that smelled sickly sweet, almost floral, but I didn't think much of it then. Hours later, I returned to the clearing once more. My knife marks were gone. Not faded, not weathered, just erased, as if someone had smoothed over the wood with invisible hands. A chill ran down my spine, and I told myself it was exhaustion playing tricks on me. That's when I noticed the symbols. They hadn't been there before. Carved into the trunks surrounding the clearing, intricate patterns spiraled across the bark in shapes that made my eyes ache just looking at them. They weren't any language I recognized, yet they pulsed faintly, glowing dimly in the twilight. Something about them felt alive, watching me. Day 2, the whispers start. Sleep didn't come easy. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard whispers, soft, insistent murmurs that slithered between the trees. They spoke in a tongue I couldn't understand, guttural and melodic at the same time. Sometimes they sounded close enough to touch, other times far away, carried on the wind. I tried covering my ears, humming songs to drown them out, anything to stop the noise, but it only got louder. By morning, the symbols had spread. More trees bore those unnatural carvings, forming concentric rings around the clearing. And now they moved, slowly, imperceptibly, shifting like shadows beneath the surface of water. When I reached out to touch one, an electric jolt shot up my arm, forcing me to stumble backward. That's when I found the first body. It was half buried near the edge of the clearing, its face frozen in a scream. Roots wrapped around its limbs, pulling it into the earth like some grotesque cocoon. Its clothes were tattered, unrecognizable, but the terror etched onto its features was unmistakable. Whoever, or whatever they were, they hadn't escaped. A note fluttered beside the corpse, written in shaky handwriting. Play the game. Day 3, rules of the game. The whispers became clearer after that. Words formed amidst the chaos, repeating over and over until I understood their message. Find the key. What key? What did it mean? I searched the clearing frantically, overturning rocks and digging through the soil, but found nothing. By nightfall, desperation clawed at my mind. The forest was toying with me, I realized. It wanted me to play along, to follow its rules. Then, just as the moon rose high above the trees, the symbols lit up. Their glow illuminated the entire clearing, casting eerie shadows that danced across the ground. In their center, a single tree stood apart from the rest. Its trunk split open like a wound, revealing a hollow cavity, and inside, a rusted iron key. My heart pounded as I approached. Was this part of the game? If I took the key, would it let me leave? Or would it trap me further? Before I could decide, the whispers erupted into laughter, a cacophony of voices overlapping, screaming, laughing, all directed at me. My hands trembled as I grabbed the key. The moment my fingers closed around it, the world shifted. The clearing expanded, stretching endlessly in every direction. Trees multiplied, their twisted forms closing in like walls. The symbols burned brighter, searing themselves into my vision. And then the voice came, not a whisper but a roar. Run! Days 4 and beyond, the hunt. I ran until my lungs burned, clutching the key like a lifeline. Behind me, something stirred in the darkness. Branches snapped, heavy footsteps echoed, and the laughter followed, growing louder with each passing second. Whatever hunted me wasn't human. It moved too fast, too silently, its presence suffocating. Every few hours, I'd find another body, each more decayed than the last. Some held keys identical to mine, others clutched scraps of paper bearing cryptic instructions. Trade the key. Do not look back. Trust no one. But trust who? I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. Except I wasn't. On the 5th day I saw her. Jess. She stumbled into the clearing ahead of me, pale and gaunt, her eyes wide with fear. Relief flooded through me, at least until I noticed the blood dripping from her mouth. Her lips curled into a grin as she lunged forward, faster than I could react. Her hands closed around my throat, choking the life out of me. As my vision blurred, I saw the key fall from my grasp. Jess picked it up, her expression triumphant, and vanished into the trees. When I woke again, the cycle began anew. Epilogue, forever playing. Now I understand. The forest doesn't want me to leave. It wants me to play, to take the key, to trade it, to fight, to die. Over and over, it resets itself, trapping me in this endless nightmare. The symbols grow stronger with each iteration, feeding on my fear, my despair. And sometimes, when the whispers grow quiet, I hear Ryan's voice among them. He tells me he's sorry. He says he's waiting for me. Maybe someday I'll join him. Until then, I keep running, keep searching, keep playing. Because the forest always wins.